Hello, a few months ago I made a video showing how I made an LED neon strip wall light for my grandson in the shape of the Monaco Formula 1 racing circuit using an image I found online. Fortunately or unfortunately, he's now seen the light and has changed his allegiance from motor racing to cricket, and he has asked me if I can make him a cricket light instead. In the meantime, I also realised that rather than download another image, it might be possible to do something a bit more personal from a photo, which means you can make a light out of pretty much anything from family members to pets, dogs, cats. The list is endless. To understand what we're trying to do here, it's probably best to watch the original video first. I've included a link in the comments. You can make a light from pretty much any photo. The only limit with a continuous LED strip is that the minimum internal or external radius is about 6mm for shallow bends or 8mm for full 180-degree bends. It is possible to make a sharper corner by cutting the light, but I think this could possibly detract from the appearance. Choose a photo you want to use. We had to take quite a few photos before we eventually got an image we liked and we thought would make a decent shaped light. Import your photo into a photo editing program. In this case we're using an old version of Photoshop, but you could do the same thing in a free open source program such as GIMP. First, crop the image to remove any unnecessary background. We need to create an outline to use for our cutting template. There are several ways to do this in Photoshop. You could use the magnetic lasso tool, which is okay but takes a while. But in this case, probably the quickest way is to use the quick selection tool. Click around the image until you've selected all you need. Remove any area selected in error by holding down the Alt key and click. Finally, zoom in and go around the selection, adding any areas you've missed. It's probably best to modify the selected area slightly to round off any sharp corners. To do this, press Select, Modify, Smooth. In this case, I've chosen 5 pixels. We now need to create an outline, so create a new layer and draw a stroke on the new layer. You may need to play about a bit with the width of the stroke. In this case, a 5-pixel stroke gave a decent line for cutting round. It helps for the next few steps to create a white background. So to do this, you can create a new layer and fill it in white. We now need to resize the image to the size we want for the cutting template. I've bought a 3 meters LED strip, so I calculate to make the best use of this length we need to make a template between 750 millimeters high. Adjust the resolution so the file size is not too big. Now we need to create copies for printing. I have an A4 printer, so I need to print equal size areas of the template that are 297 by 210 millimeters in size. To do this, I use the rectangular marquee tool set to 297 by 210 landscape. Create a new layer and select an area using the rectangular marquee and move it to the position for the first print page and create an outline using the stroke tool as before. To avoid confusion, I've chosen to use red for these areas. Once you've created one outline, it's quite easy to create the rest using Layer Copy and moving the new outline to the next position, leaving a small overlap for gluing together. The last thing to do before printing is to create some guidelines to line up the printed pages when gluing. Using the brush tool and holding down the shift button, draw some short horizontal and vertical lines across all the edges where the pages will eventually join. To select the areas for printing, click on the required layer and use the magic wand tool to select the area inside the rectangle. Crop the image to size using Image Crop and print. After printing, use the History menu to go back to before the crop. Select the rectangle for the next layer and crop and print this. Repeat until all the areas have been printed. Here we have the printed pages glued together to make the cutting template. I've checked the length and it's about 740 millimeters as planned. The only thing I've had to do is make this bend a little bit bigger so it fits the strip light here, and also make some of these bends a little bit bigger so we can fit the strip in. Before you go cutting anything out, it's probably best to check the length to make sure either it fits the length of strip you've already bought, or to tell you what length of strip to buy. This is a piece of string I've cut to 3 meters, which is the same length as the strip I've bought. What you need to do is go around the profile, remembering where you've started, with a piece of string, until you get to the other end, and once you've got to the end, check the length you've got. In this instance, I think I had about this much left over, which is good. To find out what to do next, watch my original video from about 2 minutes 13. Here's the finished light mounted on a baseboard painted the same colour, wired up to the dimmer switch I showed in the previous video. Thanks for watching.